Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And we have the three amigos. How you doing, Dion?
Howdy, Mike. Doing good. Ready for round three?
And yourself, Matt, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Super excited to be here as always.
Yeah, one of the things I want to talk about is an underappreciated topic that is critical, often missed or ignored, rarely talked about. And we're going to talk about it more and more. And that is an individual's personal network, right? Who you surround yourself with. How do you grow a network in a market if it's local, out of market, or out of state? There's just kind of the right ways to do it. It needs to be done. It shouldn't be ignored. But that's something I want to talk about here. What do you guys think? I'll start with Dion this time, I think.
I think it's probably one of the most important things a person can do. And it's that old saying of you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you're spending 8 hours a day at work, you are with employees. And you probably spend more time with people that you work with than the people that you live with.
Yeah.
Because you're sleeping when you're at home. Finding people in the asset class that you invest is very important because you don't need a filter for the conversations. You don't need an interpreter to explain the concepts that you're talking about. And there's been a lot of times where I join a mastermind group, and whether it's in real estate or growing a business or parenting or anything that I want to get better at. And you never know what you're going to learn until a conversation is happening and there's a back and forth between other people. And that triggers your brain to ask the questions for the knowledge that you just found out you didn't even have or know that existed that you needed to have. So for me, local Facebook groups, local meetups to find real estate investors, talking to agents, getting referrals, having those conversations, and don't call people and say, let me buy you a cup of coffee. But figuring out where the meetings are happening and being there, for me, has been the best way to grow that network. Because it is very specific to the market that you invest in when it comes to real estate. And there are people in your area investing at a distance in the same areas that you're looking at. Absolutely. That you can interact with. So to me, it's very powerful.
Very cool. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, crucial. I mean, that network is your net worth. And, we had a unit that a tenant moved out of that we thought was going to be in good shape. And they had just had everything strategically placed that covered. It took 7 hours to mud the place.
Oh, wow.
7 hours, pinholes, nail holes. I'll post a picture of all we pulled. There were over 130 nails and screws pulled out of the walls in the 3-bedroom apartment. Wow. So your network being your net worth, I had to I was like, I've got somebody that's supposed to move in this weekend, literally Saturday. I had to make 3 or 4 calls from people that did that work for me before, pick up the phone, and I was able to get somebody there to do it. They did it after they got out of work, and they spent 7 hours there. They were there from basically 4 o'clock till about, 11.
Wow.
Doing that work. So the network being your net worth, it's really important and critical that it is a relationship business, not only with brokers and also how you're purchasing, but also with your tradespeople. You have to have a good relationship with your tradespeople, pay them right when they're done. They value that because they're just trying to feed their families like we're trying to feed ours as landlords, but value them as people. And so for us, it was, I took shit moment into we're still going to get this done. I had a carpenter there hanging 4 new doors that had holes in them. And, he took care of the holes in the walls, and a painter's there today painting it. Nice. I'm not going to miss a step. I'm going to literally have this woman in by Saturday. And that was after massive sheetrock repair, massive carpenter repair, and having to paint the entire apartment.
Wow.
That's all happening because of my network and the people that we know and the people that we worked with, and the fact that they respect us, that we pay them quickly, that we don't argue. Like we don't argue every single time we do a deal.
Yeah.
Like if he says it cost X, then I get to the point with my contractors where if they say it cost X, I believe them.
Yeah.
I believe them. And I don't bust their stones, Yeah. So I think that network being net worth is really important.
Yeah. The thing for me to think about is I'm always thinking about the person starting, right? Because I think when people get momentum and they realize the wealth and cash flow and appreciation, that pretty much takes care of himself. I'm worried that person that's that shooting star, right? They got that interest level. They're starting to poke around bigger pockets. They're getting lost in YouTube University. What I want to tell that person is if you don't take special care to try to actively find 3 or 4 or 5 new people that are trying, to Dion's point, do the same thing, you're very likely going to fail. And the reason I say that is if you don't change your network, and in the beginning, it might not even be remove people, but add people so that you get some positive juice, like the motivation to keep going, you're going to never go anywhere. It'll be a wasted 90 days and you won't write an offer, because I consider your network either a battery drainer or a battery charger. Most people make the position to real estate investing after something, right? Loss in the stock market, like myself, finding out you got $89,000 in debt, you got to do something, right? There's an event that happens and you go that direction. But if you don't surround yourself with new people that go, yeah, you got this, you can do it, I was there too, blah, blah, blah. Or you can ask questions, or, hey, I just locked up a deal. Can you do me a solid, come by after hours and just take a look, right? It's going to be really rough, because unfortunately, a lot of us have friends that we've had for a long time, and we kind of have history, and you have memories, and you don't want to change them, even though they're bad for you, right? They're the ones that are playing video games or smoking weed or drinking or cheating or whatever they're doing. And, I really believe the one phrase that hasn't been said is, if I can see your 5 friends, I can tell your future. Right? That's kind of one phrase we haven't said yet. That's the big one for me. So a lot of y'all, you need a couple of new friends. That's what I would tell you. What do you think, Dion?
So I like the idea of not getting rid of friends and adding new friends, because that's some people's knee-jerk reaction is, if I have 5 new friends, I have to get rid of these 5, right? And I like these 5.
Yeah.
I have my longest friend that I've known since we were in Desert Storm together. We're still friends a billion years later.
Right.
His house is his biggest asset. He is not going to ever think about buying a rental property until the housing market crashes at least 50%. He thinks I'm an idiot. So if I had only people like him around, it would be a little harder for me to have the opinion that I do, that real estate is the path to financial freedom. Right. Now is always a good time to buy a great deal. So keep the old friends, have the new friends, but separate the topics that you talk about.
Yes.
Your real estate friends who are supportive and who get the industry, having that conversation is really important. And an example is, if I look at your social media profile and I see you're on Facebook, and I can't tell within a few seconds that you are involved in real estate, that's not somebody I want to interact with. I'm not going to be adding friends that aren't involved in something that literally bought my freedom and made work optional. So as I add people to my network of friends, they are going to be people who are also interested in making work optional, because I think the world's a better place when people have jobs that they want instead of jobs they have to have for the money. And those are the kind of people I want to surround myself with. And the more you do that, the easier this gets. Kind of like Matt's point. You had a bunch of projects that needed done, and because you have that network in place, it was very easy to handle a tenant flip, even if it was a bad tenant flip. The easier you make investing on yourself, the more likely you are to add more units, which adds to your cash flow and adds to your net worth. So we have that professional network, you have that personal network, and you can control who comes into your life. And that doesn't mean you have to get rid of the people that are there now. You can just feel bad for them as they go to work every day.
Yes, exactly. How about you, Matt? What do you think about that thing?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, honestly, I think it's exactly right. One of the funny things, Dion just said something that reminded me. I had a friend of mine that I talked to in this last week, and he said, what the hell? And I said, whoa, what's
going on?
What's the deal? He goes, you have a YouTube channel? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, why wouldn't you tell me? I go, because I don't care.
Yes.
We're not like,
that's not what we talk about.
You don't care about property. Like, I mean, whatever. So he's like, that's just so weird. And I was like, I'm going to lumberjack you. And you can check my channel out to find out what that means. But yeah, I mean, again, I think at the end of the day, it's, what's been really fun for me, and to Dion's point, is I didn't get rid of any friends, but we did create different pockets of friends.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that are brokers and property investors and attorneys and things like that. When we get together and shoot it, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I have other friends that I get together and I go to the range with, and I have not the driving range, the gun range.
Yeah.
But that's, and then
I can imagine you on the driving range.
If somebody tries to, the day I pick up golf is the day that they make it allowable that somebody can hit you in the tee box. That's the day I start golfing.
It's the hockey of golf.
Yeah, exactly. Because until then, Not interested.
Not interested. That's funny because I actually did get rid of friends.
Interesting.
Probably not purposely, but not the first couple of years, but conscious decision, right? There were people in my network who frankly thought the only way to live, because I was in a high pressure sales where if you sold, you made some money.
Mhm.
All they ever wanted to do was spend money. They thought a great weekend was dropping 10 grand.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, and they did it like 5 times a year. It's like, oh, let me tell you about this $10,000 weekend. And it's just all nonsense. I had to get that out of my life. Because again, I was the guy whacking expenses. I went from 100 to 90 to 80 to 7, all the way to 50% of income. I could not. Those conversations went from being interesting and fun to be a part of to making me physically angry. Right. I was like, I'm having a angry moment that this person, like, you are being a financial idiot and moron, and you have no idea what you're doing to yourself. And, now you're going to be bankrupt in 2008 when your world implodes. But yeah, so I actually had to remove people, and maybe that's because of the profession I was in or something. But yeah, I mean, there were some friends that were like thick as thieves. There's like, I can't be around you anymore. So
I would ask the guy that smokes in the group. I was like, hey, can you give me $1? He's like, oh yeah, sure. And then we give me $1. And then I say, oh, can I get that lighter? And I would just literally light the dollar on fire. And you go, this is you.
You
And
idiot.
he goes, why are you lighting my dollar on fire? I was like, you think I was going to light my dollar on fire to teach you a lesson?
Idiots.
Yeah.
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 So
Matt
again,
had a really-
go ahead.
Matt had a really good point about your friends that are in real estate and the ones that aren't. And YouTube is a good example of that. When he says, you have a YouTube channel, how come you didn't tell me? The people that I know in the world who I don't interact with financially saw my YouTube channel and they said, hey, your shirt is wrinkly, and when did you shave your head? People that I interact with on Facebook and in the Bigger Pockets community, when they found out I had a YouTube channel, said, how can I support you?
Yeah.
I love your content. Please make one on this.
Sure.
That's the difference when it comes to real estate. You tell somebody you're looking at your next rental property, and somebody who's in the business and knows that you understand cash flow and that you're improving your net worth will ask you, what can I do to help? Tell me about it. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't will tell you, you should wait for the crash.
Yeah.
There's so much risk. And those conversations matter when your subconscious helps you make decisions.
Yeah.
Turns around. So folks, do yourself a favor. I would tell you to get in a quiet place, probably for a half hour by yourself, quiet place, and just visit who you interact with in the beginning, because it's either going to help you or hurt you. And I would tell you, most people in the beginning need to add friends that will charge your battery and get you excited. Later and down the line, if you want to remove people like I did, because you have to, because they actually make you physically angry, you can do that. But as Dion and Matt said, they didn't remove any friends. They just have pockets. So I like that. So Matt, how can people find you?
LumberjackLandlord.com, Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time this Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. Your questions, my answers. Let's come have some fun and do a live stream together.
Yeah, you know what, folks? Do me a favor. Really get on that, and let's see if you can make them go 4 hours. Let's see if we can do 4 hours. And folks,
I did 3 and my eyeballs were popping out of my head. My kids were like, what's wrong, Daddy? And I was like, I don't know. I've never been drunk before, but maybe this is it.
Maybe this is it. And we'll make this announcement in the Facebook group, folks. But if you're a part of my private Facebook group, Dion is actually going to lead the live stream Saturday at 9 a.m. because I will be speaking at the REI conference at 9 a.m. and I can't be in both places. So Dion, thank you very much for doing that. How can they find you, Dion?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I'll be in the group on Saturday, and all topics are on the board except for retirement accounts. That's my kryptonite. Don't like them. Can't answer any questions.
Yeah.
So please show up with some questions about anything else
There
real
you
estate
go.
related.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mike.